have the Creed song in my head. Can you take me higher? I think it's because of that Paramount Plus Super Bowl commercial where Hey Arnold is thrown like a football and he hits the side of a mountain. But I've been singing it all day long. Can you take me higher to a place where blind men see? And, it's interesting when you say the words a blind man can see, because that's going to be a little bit of our Ruffino's rants tonight. Because in case you missed it, ESPN has come up with a deal with the college football playoff in reference to them paying the college football playoff committee and just college football playoff $7.8 billion over the next 6 years. So you would have to be a blind man not to see what's going on in college football, and why I think we're inevitably moving into college football having some form of collective bargaining agreement. We talk about that a little bit here tonight. But we are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope all of you are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Jamar Jackson said we're going early today, huh? Yes, we are going early today, Jamar, because LSU men's basketball plays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So we're going to move up an hour because I do not like going live during LSU events, or especially in the main three, baseball, basketball, football. I've gone live before during some of them. I just absolutely hate it. Absolutely hate it. So yeah, we are a little bit live here a little bit earlier. Aaron Miller says, yes, that we are. We are live. We do have a big show in store for you tonight. So we'll talk about college football playoff and that $7.8 billion contract that they have over the next 6 years with ESPN. LSU baseball season is here. We weren't able to talk about it last night. Ran out of time with Carter Bryant. But we will talk about it here tonight. A lot of people coming out with their preseason Omaha 8. A lot of people, for whatever it's worth, discrediting LSU. Okay. All right. Don't do it. You don't do it. Don't do that to Jay Johnson. He's going to make you look like a fool. 8 players from LSU get invited to the combine, the NFL combine in Indianapolis. We'll talk about that as well here tonight. But some of the guys that will be there, Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., Charles Turner, Mekhi Wingo, Jordan Jefferson, Mason Smith, and a surprise one, Andre Sam. So we'll talk a little bit about those guys who are going to be at the NFL Combine, what we're hearing as well. And we'll, as we always do, we got to talk a little bit about LSU football because we are a college football podcast. I do need to make an announcement because we're going to go around your SEC as well. Now that we are out of the season, the complete football season, I was waiting until after the Super Bowl. About midday, a lot of times throughout the week, we're not going to go live, but we're going to be doing some live or some recorded shows and talking about the SEC. So we're going to talk, obviously, live shows, a lot of LSU and SEC stuff, but we're going to be bringing on a lot of guests. We did one today with Dave Shoemate. In case you missed that interview, go to our YouTube channel and check that out. Best way to see all the content that we're publishing, go over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. That way that you get all of our content. But we're going to be doing a lot of SEC stuff too, along with adding on to the channel. So really looking forward to that, but we will go around your SEC. Alabama making an offensive coordinator hire. Your boy called it on Ruffino and Joe show where they were going to go, but nobody tended to listen. With Nick Sheridan, we'll touch on that as well. And Tennessee standing their ground when it comes to the NCAA investigation. I know y'all don't want to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it, but we got to talk about it a little bit. as they're back in the news as well. LSU Florida basketball preview. At the end of the show, we'll talk about that and field some of your questions. Hashtag Ask Blake. Thoughts, questions, concerns. Fire them inside of the Rudy Crew chat. Paul Martin says, but the last two champs, blah, blah, we aren't Mississippi schools. We sold everything. They sold everything for their natties. Yeah, I just don't think that, barring injury, and we'll get into this in the LSU baseball stuff, I just don't think people realize like what Jay has put together and what he's done in recruiting and the depth that this team has and what he's done in the portal. Jay has done more in the transfer portal and done more in recruiting than either one of those two Mississippi schools did. Let them doubt LSU, man. Let them do it. Like, because there's one thing, I swear to God, there is one thing I am not worried about. That is Jay Johnson and his LSU baseball team. Like, I guys, I'm just not. Now, they're going to hit us. They're going to hit bumps in the road during the year. Guys, the national championship team hit bumps in the road when they went to Auburn and lost 2 out of 3 to Auburn. That was a lot of people. Like, I'm not going to say his name, but you have a guy that's on from 3 to 6 every day who was saying that it could be the biggest bust in LSU baseball's history. I'm old enough to remember that. But I will tell you, there was somebody on here and says, hey, guess what? That's baseball. Nobody tended to want to listen to that. Some people did, but a lot of people in the media didn't. They're going to hit snags in the road. I do think that it might be a little rough on them early on in the year when it comes to being at the plate, but they're going to heat up and they're going to be better. So, I mean, the classic that they'll play in Texas, I think is going to be a good barometer to where this team is early in the year. They're going to get better. They could lose every game there, even though I don't think that they will. But, I mean, I'm old enough to remember, too, that LSU lost to Iowa earlier in the year. Like, guys, it's baseball. It's baseball. So, yeah. Aaron Miller says one guy from 11.7 picked 3 teams from the state of Georgia. Ha ha ha. I saw that, but I didn't even realize that. Wes Johnson, coach of the year if Georgia makes it to Omaha. Oh God, he's beyond that. But yeah, he would be. Harold Hibbard is in Denham Springs, Louisiana. Yeah, where are you watching from tonight? The 225 Livingston Parish, Denham Springs, stand up. Good to have you in here with us, Harold. Robert says, why are the Friday games moved to 2 p.m.? I won't be able to make the game or the Friday games need to be night games. I think Jay's kind of talked about this a little. They're just moving it. He just wants to play in the early part of the year. He wants to play some of these early games, and I don't really blame him, to be honest. I don't blame Jay. And look, to be honest with you too, Robert, we do a lot of post games because they are playing a lot of times when we go live. I love every single second of it. Just mainly due to the fact because it doesn't have to be 12:30 at night when I'm going to sleep every night. Because after a show, guys, we got, you see me on here, okay, and you think like I just turn the camera off and turn everything off and everything around here in the studio. Like after I'm done with every show, I got an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of work that has to be done. Like this isn't just like me turning on a camera and this shit just happens. So I am really glad that they're moving it to 2. And historically too, a lot of people don't go to the early season games anyway, especially in the cold. Now they might now because of Jay and them winning the national title, but I just don't think it's going to be packed crowds. And it'll be warmer. Like tonight, like right now it's 54 degrees. Tonight I think it's supposed to get in the 40s. It's going to be a lot warmer throughout the middle of the day. So yeah. Wayne Florence says he's in Dewdrop Road, Bastrop. Now that's being very specific. I don't think anybody's ever been that specific. Good to have you in here. Good buddy Paul's in Ville Platte, the 337. Jamar Jackson's in Seattle, Washington. Good to have you in here, Jamar. as the team in Seattle gets a new offensive coordinator with Ryan Grubb leaving Alabama and going to the Seahawks. So good to have you in here from Seattle. Mario Collada says, what is the pitching rotation for this weekend? I would assume, just guessing, don't know. Be honest with you, Mario, haven't even asked. I would have imagined Thatcher Hurd gets the ball on Friday, if not Luke Holman. And if Luke Holman does not get the ball on Friday, I would assume that he gets the ball on Saturday. And I don't know where they go with it on Sunday. If you remember, Riley Cooper was the guy last year that was the Sunday guy. And obviously that was a rotating door until Thatcher Hurd was able to get in there and mainly be the third guy. I don't know if it's going to be Gage Jump. I don't know where they go there, but it's going to be really interesting. They're going to be loaded on the mound. Absolutely freaking ridiculously good on the mound. Roderick Dugas says, Lafayette 337, it's lit in my city right now. Yes, because it's Fat Tuesday. See, that's another thing that we're having the battle against. It's Fat Tuesday. Every Tuesday is Fat Tuesday for me, though. So, you know what I mean? So, I don't feel bad for you. But I hope all of you are having a good one out there for Mardi Gras. We don't really, around here, I like Mardi Gras, man. I'm just not a Mardi Gras guy. I don't know how you guys are. Thumbs, let me ask y'all this question. Are you a big Mardi Gras person? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Do you go to a lot of balls, parades, all that kind of stuff? If you do, give us a thumbs up. If you don't, give us a thumbs down. I'm just not. It's just not me, man. We don't go to a lot of them. We go to some parades. I'm sure when the kids get older, we'll. But right now, man, we're just not. We just don't go. Jackie says, happy Mardi Gras, Central Louisiana stand up. Good to have you in here. Terry says yes with a thumbs up. Terry Del Husse in the house. Penn Jones, Derek with a thumbs down. Veronica with a thumbs down. So, yeah. Jason says yes, big thumbs up. Okay. So it's about 50-50 so far. All right, let's get rolling. We got lots to talk about. Everybody do us a favor. By hitting the like and share to all those social media groups, if you're on Facebook, do us a favor. Hit that like button, hit the share. Share to all those Facebook groups, share to all of those social media pages. If you're watching us, listening to us on YouTube, like, subscribe, and notification bell wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. Let's talk about our good friends over at betonline.ag, our good friend Tyler Alexander over at LPT Realty. Don't go anywhere. We got lots to discuss. LSU baseball, football, college football playoff, tons and tons to get to. We get to that next. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
We're back. Let's get rolling, y'all. Let's get this thing rolling, y'all. So, in case you missed it today, the college football playoff and ESPN announced a deal that they have agreed to a 6-year contract or a 6-year deal worth $7.8 billion in TV revenue that ESPN will be giving the college football playoff. And look, this is since the season has been over and college football has been over with at least a little bit over a month ago, I have somewhat been on a soapbox in reference to NIL, in reference to where the game is going. This is a really good thing for college football and college athletics in general. Because, look, this shows, number one, and something that I think that we get lost in today's college football, that there are so many things surrounding the game. When we talk about NIL, when we talk about the transfer portal, when we talk about some coaches leaving very lucrative spots and going to the NFL, or you got guys like Chip Kelly leaving UCLA to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. This continues to show me and should be able to show you that college football is in a really good place. But you know what the first thing I thought about today when the deal was announced, that ESPN and the college football playoff had come to an agreement for 6 years worth $7.8 billion. Why aren't any of those players getting any of that money? Like we could, I mean, guys, it would be one thing. And by the way, that's not conference TV revenue money, right? Like that isn't even on top of what the schools will make, the conferences will make, especially that ESPN is giving, like the conference that your favorite team is, LSU, what they're giving to them. I think it's absolutely ludicrous that we are announcing deals where ESPN can give $7.8 billion with a B, not million, billion with a B, over the next 6 years for the college football playoff, and yet we have no structure or no deal where players get any of that revenue. Now, you can say whatever you want in reference to if you believe players should be paid, shouldn't be paid. Here's the bottom line, man. We're not talking about chump change. We're not talking about small amounts of money that is being driven into the sport. The sport, even with NIL and the portal, from a financial standpoint, has never been healthier. Guys, we're talking about billions and billions of dollars being issued to, and what will be issued to, conferences over the next 6 years. You know, it's funny, when you look down to it, I brought up a scenario that if a player that's on scholarship, like let's say, for example, LSU has 85 scholarship players. Let's say that each one of those scholarship players is given $50,000 apiece in TV revenue money. Now, you might think that that's absolutely crazy. It's just north of $4 million that the school would have to pay said athletes. And yet we don't even balk. We don't even really blink when it comes to deals like this. You know, it's interesting to me that there are so many moving parts and so many different things that are happening in college athletics. The one thing that I think that everybody should agree on is that when you have that amount of money in TV revenue, having players get any form of that shouldn't even be a political or debate. It shouldn't even be a topic. It shouldn't even be something that we even blink an eye at, that players should be getting paid. NIL will continue to be there. Recruiting and people paying money underneath the table will constantly be there when the form of how you build a team is through recruiting. The wild, wild west of college athletics is never going away. Guys, the truth is, even before NIL, that's how teams and programs like LSU, and I know that that's your favorite school, and you probably don't want me to say that, like Nick Saban at Alabama, Kirby Smart at Georgia, paying players to go there has always how these universities and schools have put together, and coaches have put together great programs. That's not going away. But you know what might happen or help college athletics? Let's say a freshman comes into a university in a TV revenue. Let's say year one, he makes $40,000 in TV revenue money. If he stays at the same school, next year he gets 60. And as a junior and senior makes 80 both years. You think that player is going to want to risk going into the transfer portal after that? We have so many simple things that we can enact in college athletics that it feels like the powers that be don't want it to change, because look at the money that's being generated and there is no rule, there is no structure. You know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm going to throw a conspiracy theory at you right now. I don't think the powers that be in college football want anything to change. I think they go out there and they talk about NIL and NIL being regulated. I think they talk about the transfer portal and the portal being regulated. But I don't really think anybody who has power, okay, really wants anything to change when you have this amount of money, like ESPN and the college football playoff today, those deals being done, because it puts money into the conference's pockets. It puts money into the school's pockets. It puts money into the administrator and coaches' pockets. Why would they want to change? Now, coaches and administrators want it to change because it's a total nightmare when it comes to recruiting. Constantly having to have conversations about NIL and money. And I understand that from their point of view and their perspective, that it is such a hassle to constantly have those conversations. It's why you're seeing so many schools and universities hire GMs. Hell, Austin Thomas comes here for Ole Miss so that Brian Kelly does not have to continue to have the conversations and have to organize NIL for over 100 guys that are on at and in his program. I finished this by saying something very simple. If they wanted to, if the NCAA, if Greg Sankey, if Tony Petitti, who is the commissioner of the Big Ten, if they really wanted to regulate all of this, they would have gotten it done. Guys, we're talking about 4 years that this has been going on. Guys, since 2020, the transfer portal and NIL has been a massive thing in college sports. And what have we seen in the last 4 years? More money being driven into the sport, and we've seen more entities, CBS, Fox, ESPN, spending more money because they can make more money. The conferences can make more money. Why would they want to change a product that's making everybody money? Maybe you call me a conspiracy theorist, maybe you don't. But 4 years is a long time. In July, it will be 4 years that we have had NIL as a full-time legal thing. But yet we don't have any regulation. Why is that? I've been on my soapbox about this for over a month. And even to the point where the Tennessee investigation, speaking around your SEC, Tennessee came out with another statement today that they are standing on firm ground and they're going to fight the NCAA. Guys, I tell you, there are things in college football specifically that I worry about. Tennessee winning this lawsuit that they have against the NCAA is 1,000% one of them. I'm not a Tennessee hater. I want players to be paid. I love NIL. I love that players can move if the situation dictates that they probably should. But one thing that I don't like and don't really feel comfortable in is that there not being any governing body. If you disassociate and you move away from the NCAA and you think the conferences are going to come down on universities for recruiting violations, you are, listen to me. You are the biggest buffoon on the face of the planet if you believe that the conferences are going to govern themselves rightly and govern these schools that are in these conferences rightly and be just and firm. Why would Greg Sankey come down on any university in the SEC for a recruiting violation? Because the more talented athletes that come into his conference, That means that they don't go to the Big Ten. They don't go to the Big 12. They don't go to the ACC. He doesn't want anybody else to prosper more than the SEC does. So he's not going to hit Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. Hell, he's sticking up for Tennessee right now. One thing, and the last part about this, the money that is being generated, guys, LSU will never be broke. And here's another thing, too. And the last part of this, it is big money and will continue to be big money business. Look how much money that you can potentially make from TV revenue if you make for your school, if you make the playoff. So do you really believe that schools and universities that are going to make and can make more money from this TV contract in an expanded playoff, that they're not going to, administrators are not going to do everything they can to help with NIL and the portal to get players to their school? Because, guys, they know how much money they can make in TV revenue. I know this is something that you don't like talking about a lot, but as Aaron Miller in the chat says, play the Shane McMahon intro music. Money, 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 money. It's all it comes down to. It's all it will ever come down to. Okay. Harold says I get concerned about the baseball team when regionals start. I guess you're just talking about in general. I feel you there. I feel you there. Stephen Young says college football coaches wouldn't be leaving for the NFL as fast if a portion of the conference payout money went to the players. Stephen, see, here's the thing that I disagree with that on. Okay, name them. Okay, so you have Ryan Grubb leaving to be a coordinator in the NFL. You have Jeff Hafley leaving Boston College. Being the DC with the Packers is a better job than being a head coach at Boston College. Chip Kelly left UCLA because I'm just going to be real with you. I think Chip Kelly's a punk. I mean, he's taking a pay cut. It is what it is. You know, but he didn't want to be there. I don't think coaches are leaving at an alarming rate like people think that they are. Like, I really don't. I really, 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 really don't. So we'll see. We'll see. All right. We got some people in here wanting to talk some baseball. Edo, Nuss Bus Driver. It's funny, Edo. Didn't see a lot of you during the football year when, you know, you remember, Edo, you used to get on me about Jane Daniels. Where's Bullfrog, by the way? Hey, a lot of you go to these shows, these other shows. Have y'all seen Bullfrog? Do y'all know who I'm talking about? Man, that man hated Jane Daniels. Jane Daniels wins the Heisman. He don't say shit. If y'all see Bullfrog, tell him Blake's looking for him. Tell him Blake's looking for him. All right. Let's talk a little bit of baseball. So look, LSU baseball kicks off this week. Probably shouldn't say kicks off. Let's start that differently. LSU baseball starts this week. They will tee it up on Friday. And your reigning, defending national champion, LSU baseball, starts and looks to defend their title. Listen, let me start off with this really quickly, too. I've seen a lot of people in the preseason part of college baseball, saw a lot of it today, that a lot of people are questioning what LSU baseball has and are they going to be good? You know, and look, I don't really mind somebody in a preseason not picking LSU to go to Omaha. Guys, it's very difficult to get there. It's very difficult to be a part of the Omaha 8. Excuse me. But I got to admit, it is very surprising to me the people that cover college baseball completely discrediting Jay Johnson. You know, I will digress. I think LSU baseball has a lot of question marks. And look, some of them won't be finished or answered. A lot of those questions start to be answered on Friday. I think some of them already have in these inner squads that we've seen LSU be in. I think LSU is going to hit for a ton. They got a lot of dudes that can hit. I don't want to say nukes, but I am going to. Guys, they're going to hit and they're going to score a lot of runs. One thing that I am never worried about with LSU baseball, as long as Jay Johnson is the head coach in Baton Rouge, is what they do at the plate and the amount of runs that they're going to score. Year one was difficult for Jay. It wasn't fully his team. Didn't have the pitching staff that could get him out of the regional. Hell, I was there for pretty much the entire regional in Harrisburg. But he regrouped. He went to the portal, got guys like Skeens. He was able to bring in the number one overall class from high school, which he did again this year. I think in a lot of ways, LSU baseball is deeper than they were in specific areas. Guys, what they got behind the plate is an example. You have three guys that I think potentially could be all SEC caliber type. Now, I think Travinski is going to DH a lot. I think that's the role he's going to play. I don't think they're going to put him behind the mound unless, and God forbid, barring injury, which you had last year. And he was a part of that. But I look at this LSU baseball team and say to myself, what does Josh Pearson look like in year 3? You go into the portal and get Braswell from South Carolina. Guys, I know how he looked in Columbia last year. He has been on fire during the fall, and he's been on fire. He'll be your starting shortstop, Michael Braswell. He has been on fire at the plate even early this spring. I call it spring because that's early this winter, I maybe should say. I do think that, and it's kind of funny too, people forget what LSU baseball has returned. And let me give an example. Hold on, let me blow my nose. Still got this flu thing, bro. Sucks. Horrible podcasting. But I had to blow my nose, man. Horrible podcasting. You know, it's interesting. I think that I feel as if, and I see it and feel it, even from an LSU media perspective, to some extent. People forget that Tommy Tanks is still on this team. People forget that Bear Jones hit over 300, had more or double-digit home runs. Arguably, on any other team in the country, may have continued to be the starter even through the big SEC push. Obviously, he comes out. Trey Morgan goes to first. That's no slight on a guy like Bear Jones, who's going to play a lot of first this year, clearly. But I look at what they have in the infield. Tommy White at third. Michael Braswell, who I think Jay Johnson identified, recruited, and brought in here and said to himself, listen, if I get my hands on that kid, I think he could be an all-SEC first-team shortstop. One thing that I don't question Jay on is talent evaluating and going into the portal and grabbing dudes that can come here and play. But you got Tommy White. You got Michael Braswell. Pearson comes in from left field into second, a position that he played a lot in high school, but we literally saw a dude in Gavin Dugas move from the outfield and play second on a national championship team. So I know a lot of people are worried about that move. Guys, we literally saw it a year ago be highly effective and work really well. You got Bear Jones at first, who I think, again, now that he is not a freshman and has a lot of experience, I know that he struck out a lot. Guys, he still hit over 300 and over double-digit home runs and had a lot of RBIs. You got arguably the best defensive catcher in the country with Alex Milazzo behind the plate. And you got Travinsky that is going to be at DH. And a lot of people have forgotten about Brady Neal, who Jay Johnson is just so high on. I do think it's going to be interesting to see what they do in the outfield. I think that they're going to rotate some guys in and out of there. But the man, Kling Kong, Paxton Kling, he's starting to come into his own a little bit. Bingham, who will be in right, who destroyed the baseball last year at Arizona, was a guy that Jay Johnson loved. He comes in from the transfer portal. I would not be surprised if you look up and he's hitting over 300 and has double-digit home runs his damn self. And it's not like the Pac-12 was slouches and has been slouches in college baseball. Let's see what they do in left. I don't know what they're going to do officially. I have my thoughts and opinions, but I think they're going to rotate some pieces in early to see who can go into that spot and take it over. All of that is fine and dandy, okay? But look, man, what LSU has on the mound, I don't think people are fully aware of. I've mentioned this a lot on this show. You can't simply replace a Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens. You can't replace a Cade Beloso. You can't replace a Trey Morgan. But Jay Johnson has recruited at such a high level and identified, hey, man, look, we got to get deeper on the mound. And he's done that. He has 1,000% done that. He's brought in one of the best pitching coaches in the country, Nate Yeskie. Guys, I think they're going to be better on the mound, which is scary. I remember a lot of you last year, really not liking Ty Floyd early in the year. Well, Ty Floyd goes into Omaha and shoves it right up Florida's ass, no lube and no pause. 18 big strikeouts. Big nuts Ty Floyd. First round pick Ty Floyd. And I still think with Ty Floyd, Skeens not being there, they might be better as an entire staff, which is scary. Now, I think from an experience standpoint, I am interested to see what does a guy like Christian Little give you? Christian Little, look, man, I think has all the ability in the world. I think when he is on, he is on. Can Nate Yeskie turn Christian Little around and get him? Because, look, man, you're going to need somebody who's been in big spots before. So at some point during the season, Christian Little's going to have to come into games and really shove it. Griffin Herring. Hell, I mean, you got a lot of older arms in that bullpen. A lot of young, talented arms, too. So we'll see. I think ultimately they're going to be better. And look, we start to see it on Friday. I hope they come out the gate just absolutely blasting dudes. Nate Ackenhausen says Aaron Miller. I agree with that. Nate Ackenhausen. Another guy that we just forget about. An older guy we forget about. Guys, Nate Ackenhausen, I mean, he's just going to be another critical piece. So I have seen a lot of people, I don't want to say discredit, but cast LSU aside because of what has happened to the last two national champions from the state of Mississippi. That's not LSU, man. That's not Jay Johnson. I would be more shocked if LSU falls flat on their face under Jay Johnson than anybody on the planet. You can't recruit the way that Jay has recruited. And guys, the talent that he has and that we've already seen in this preseason, they didn't have that talent at Ole Miss. They did not have that talent at Mississippi State. Jay has completely replenished a lot of concerns and areas along this baseball team. People don't want to put him in their final eight in Omaha. I understand it. It's tough to do that. Guys, Skip Bertman only repeated as a national champion once in his career at LSU. Only once. It's very, very, very tough to do. Not impossible, but very tough to do. I think this is going to be a really fun baseball team. Going to have their struggles, going to have their bumps in the road, but I think it's going to be really fun. David, let's see what Dave. Let's get Gavin Guidry too. Yeah, the list goes on and on. Jay, what did I get a massive pause on? What did I say? What did I say? David says On3 has LSU as one of the 8 that make it to Omaha. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about more of the baseball guys that are on social media. They've somewhat all right, let's just say what it is. They've discredited LSU. They've discredited LSU. And look, a lot of people are, like I see this Jake McKeever, college baseball rules host for CBC, ACC, and CBC. I don't know what that means. He just said something to us on Twitter. It's the left side of the infield fielding the ball that's my concern. Man, I'm just going to tell you, I think a lot of people are going to be shocked by what Michael Braswell is about to come in here and do. I think that kid can play. Jay Johnson historically does not miss in the portal. Now, Christian Little, all right, that's fine. I mean, Thatcher Hurd, Nate Ackenhausen, Riley Cooper, and Riley Cooper was a part of his team, so, I mean, he knew what he was getting there. When Jay identified – the way that Jay has talked about Michael Braswell, all right, be careful. I'm old enough to remember when a lot of people questioned LSU defensively last year. Remember Jordan Thompson? Oh, he's an error. He's an error, walking error. He's a walking error. Jordan Thompson had more big plays in the field than anybody on this team. I saw the guy, our buddies over at LSU Barstool. They posted the Trey Morgan, Wake Forest defensive bunt scenario where what was it, the safety squeeze, and Trey Morgan makes the biggest play arguably of the season defensively. Because LSU defense was not bad last year. Didn't turn a lot of double plays, but they were pretty solid. They're actually really solid. I look at Jay as an example for one thing too. Look at what Jay – here's why when you look at a guy like Jay Johnson and you look at what he's done at LSU, like let's break this down very quickly. Like people will say, oh, we have issues with guys like Michael Braswell. Okay, that's fine. I understand your concern. Cade Beloso and Braden Jobert, from where they started with when Jay Johnson came in here, where they started to where they ended up, we've seen guys that have really struggled at the plate at LSU be double-digit home run guys. Guys being in Omaha, hitting absolute tanks in the biggest of moments. Alex Milazzo. Guys, Alex Milazzo couldn't hit his weight. He's 198, arguably. I don't know how much he weighs. Alex Milazzo, before Jay Johnson got here, you could make the argument was one of the worst guys at the plate swinging a stick than we've ever seen. Maybe Hal Hughes would be the only other guy that would be in the same category as bad. Jay Johnson, Alex Milazzo owes Jay Johnson his first year salary in Major League Baseball for what he's done with Milazzo at the plate. I mean, night and day difference. So the guys that have been, or we have seen be struggle a lot at LSU. Jay Johnson comes in and completely revamps their career. You think that's not going to happen with a guy like Michael Braswell? Good luck. Good luck with that. All right. Yeah, and the third baseman hasn't changed. I mean, they're saying that they don't think Tommy Tanks is good defensively, which, you know what's funny, too? You know what's funny? I can make the argument that Tommy Tanks is the biggest superstar in the sport right now, and people completely forget about him. Jay Johnson did his opening press conference 2 weeks ago, and it took 9 minutes before somebody asked about Tommy Tanks. 9 minutes. So dumb. All right. Larry says, will Gavin Guidry play both ways? I honestly, I don't think he will. I don't think he will. Paul Sub says, Hal Hughes, geez, let's throw in Collier Cranford and Will Stafford while we're at it. Boy, ain't that the truth. I mean, but he was in that category. Paul Sub, tell me if I'm wrong. Was Alex Milazzo not in the categories with Hal Hughes, Will Stafford, and Collier Cranford? And let me tell you another thing. I'm old enough to remember when you had people in this media corps calling for Will Stafford to start at second. Do you know how absolutely stupid of a baseball mind that you got to be? And look, Will Stafford, good luck, kid. You're calling for him to start at second under Jay Johnson? Bruh. When you've had Gavin Dugas and Cade Doughty starting at second, you wanted Will Stafford. He plays the ball better on the turf field. Bro, what are we talking about? Good luck to the kid. No ill will. He has no business being at LSU. He never had a business being at LSU. I think the kid's a great kid. Great kid. He just sucked. God, he sucked. Aaron Miller says, take a look at the draft 11.7 did today. They had Tanks at $50. Caglione was $129 as a pitcher. Some weird names cost more than Tanks, and Tanks was hurt. Yeah, Caglione's a different beast. I mean, because he's gonna be in their rotation. He's gonna hit for a ton. Caglione is, look, I'm just going to be honest with you. Jack Caglione is the biggest superstar in the sport. I said Tanks is one of them. Jack Caglione is the best overall player in college baseball because of what he can do on the mound. Like it's guys, I mean, you can't debate that. Okay. When we come back, we'll go around your SEC. We'll talk a little. Man, we've done this show for 50 minutes, 51 minutes. We hadn't talked any LSU football. That's going to change. We'll preview LSU, Florida basketball, and we'll field some of your questions. Let's get to a quick break, though, before we get out of here. We're not leaving just yet, but I do need to pay some bills around here. Let's talk about our good friends over at Avid Inspection Specialist, Drake Williams Law Firm, and Carol Foster. Stay with us. Guys, let me tell you about our good friends over at Avid Inspection Specialist. Are you planning on purchasing a home or business? Then you need it inspected. AIS has you covered. Before you make that purchase, get it inspected and find the issues before you sign on that dotted line and before they become your problem. AIS also has you covered if you just recently purchased a home with their 11th month new home warranty inspections. Before the builder says it's your problem and that new home warranty expires, get it inspected and let the builder pay for it. Do you need mold inspections? Asbestos inspections, lead inspections, drone inspections, they do it all. Give them a call today at 225-717-5591. That's 225-717-5591, or go over to the website, avidspecialist.com. That's avidspecialist.com, where peace of mind happens. LHI number 11331. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with a great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements.
By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by.
I love that sound so much. That is something that potentially 8 LSU players will hear this upcoming year. And it's also how many players that LSU from last year's team will be at the NFL Combine. It was announced today, Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., Charles Turner, Mekhi Wingo, Jordan Jefferson, Mason Smith, and Andre Sam all will be taking their talents to Indianapolis to compete in this year's NFL Scouting Combine. You know, there is one thing that I'm starting to see a lot of, and that is this debate between Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr., the Ohio State wide receiver and the LSU wide receiver. Look, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a fantastic player. I did not believe that he deserved to win the Biletnikoff Award this year. I know that a lot of Ohio State people said, well, he deserved to win it last year. I really don't want to go back down the avenue of the Biletnikoff Award winner. But I do think that Malik Neighbors is, and we're starting to see this a lot in the NFL draft, mock drafts, a lot of people putting either Malik Neighbors right behind Marvin Harrison Jr., and some even have him a little bit above Marvin Harrison. I don't think people realize how good Malik Neighbors was the last 2 years for LSU. You know, it would be one thing if Malik Neighbors and LSU never really had receivers that have come through here that have been prolific and very good. But think about the LSU wide receivers that have come through here, even in the last decade or two. And Malik Neighbors, from a statistical standpoint, from a career, has more yards, more catches, more, well, not all of them more touchdowns, because that 2019 year, I mean, you had Jefferson and Chase that had over 20 touchdowns. But I just will say Malik Neighbors statistically is there and better than a lot of them. Malik Neighbors will go down as one of, if not to some people, maybe even a top 2, top 3 receiver that's ever played at LSU. To have the statistical stuff that he has done at LSU and the things that he will continue to do even when he goes to the NFL is absolutely absurd. I do think that Malik Neighbors, when it comes to being a better overall receiver, yeah, I might be biased because I'm an LSU guy. I do think that Malik Neighbors is a better wide receiver than Marvin Harrison Jr. I think you can put him in a slot. I think you can put him out wide. The yak that Neighbors gets is absolutely ridiculous. He plays with a tenacious energy. He is physical. He's a really good blocker. And sometimes I have seen in games where Marvin Harrison Jr. can be a non-factor, and Ohio State just average the same amount of points and yards and passing yards that they've done all year. He had been a non-factor. If Malik Neighbors is gone from LSU the last 2 years, that would not have been good at all. I do think Malik Neighbors is the best. Something that I think is also interesting is Jayden Daniels. Jayden has started to completely climb up these draft boards. Now, a lot of people look at Jayden and ask, will he go above a guy like Drake May? Guys, I got to tell you, and you know how much I love Jayden Daniels. I do think that I could make the argument, again, you will call me biased. It is what it is. I think Jayden Daniels is the best overall quarterback in this draft class. Number one. I know that you have a lot of talented ones. You have a lot of talented guys. I know Drake May and Caleb Williams are in this draft, and I will get absolutely obliterated by the thought and take that I would take Jayden Daniels over Caleb Williams. But quite simply put, I've seen Jayden Daniels in crunch time win football games and be elite. I've seen Drake May, when the going get tough and he needs to put the team on his back and win football games, completely fumble the bag. Caleb Williams is someone who people think is the next generational type of talent. I'm not there. I want my quarterback to be quarterbackian. And what do I mean by that? Basically, I don't want my quarterback having FU painted on his fingernails, and I don't want him wearing a dress. I don't think you can lead a team. What's going to happen when he goes into a locker room and one of the players in that locker room says, bro, you paint your fingernails and wear a dress? Now, me saying that is going to get a lot of people will take that political. I don't mean that political. It's just, of my opinion, I don't like a quarterback wearing a dress, walking around in a thong. Maybe he wasn't walking around in a thong, but that was the kind of the joke that a lot of people were saying. I don't like my quarterback wearing a dress and thinking it's cool. I think Caleb Williams is one of the most immature players that we've ever seen come into the draft. Somebody can take him number one, but I could go toe-to-toe, argument for argument with anybody on why Jayden Daniels deserves to be the first quarterback off the board. I hope somebody comes up and gets him. I don't think Chicago is a great place to play, and I'm not 100% sure that they move on from Justin Fields. I will tell you, though, if Jayden would have had remotely even close to a defense, this wouldn't even be a question. What he did last year was absolutely insane. It's going to be fun to see how Jayden climbs up these draft boards. Really quickly, before we get out of here, we'll table around your SEC because LSU basketball starts in literally 1 minute. So let's preview it a little bit. LSU versus Florida here. Guys, I don't expect us to win tonight. I really don't. I hate it. I want Matt McMahon to succeed. I hope they can pull an upset tonight. I hope I come out here tomorrow and say how wrong I was. I just don't see it. I'm cheering my ass off, though, for them to win. I just don't see it. So the game's tipping off and about to tip off now. I'm rooting for Matt McMahon, man. I really am. I just don't think they get it done tonight against Florida. So we'll see. Okay. Make sure we don't have a super chat up in here. We do not. All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Let's go watch this LSU basketball game. Peace.